So guys, here let's start with an activity, churning around learning. So what are the learning you having from your yesterday session? Please do share with others also. You have to share your top 2 learnings, but make sure everyone is sharing the unique learning. So same learning cannot be repeated again. So who will start first? Anyone can start. Have to share yesterday 2 learnings. I'm not expecting the topic name. I'm expecting the detail description, the detailed information. What are the learning you are having? Now, Falguni, can you start?
Yeah, yesterday we have learned Visual Studio Code, VS Code. Yeah, through that we can create in the command prompt we can able to create the application through few commands. Yeah, that is like .NET new minus new dash L. We can able to show the files.
No,
Then
actually,
suppose
this is not that this way. You need to explain like this way. Yesterday, we seen using the .NET CLI, we can create the .NET Core project. Even using the .NET CLI, we can build them, we can run them.
Right, yes.
So the tool name is here .NET CLI, but
.NET
it's not
CLI.
the VS Code.
Okay. .NET CLI. Fine.
So guys, can you clap for Falguni? He share his learning. Everyone, please do thumbs up to Falguni. There thumbs up option available in the Zoom. You can give the thumbs up from there. The next one, please. Imani. Imani, please do share your top 2 learnings from yesterday session. And guys, make sure you're making the notes again. If something you didn't note down yesterday, so you having the chance again to making the notes of your learning. Is it clear? Imani, can you start? Are you there? Raghavendra, can you start, please?
There is a www root folder where we can place the static contents like CSS, JavaScript, images, and like that. And the thing I learned about the layout. In the folder master layout, we can put the layout, and we can also put the condition that layout will be null or on the conditional case we can read
What is
another
the file name where we can conditionally set our layout?
that is 1 minute, sir. 1 minute, sir. I'm trying to
So file name is here underscore view start.
Sir.
So let me correct here your learning. So Raghavendra said we having a www root folder available in ASP.NET Core project where you need to put your static content. Like we having the CSS images, JavaScript file, or like we having the front-end libraries, we always keep over there. So www root is a folder. And if you're willing to set a layout page globally, or you want to set it based upon some logic, like based upon the controller name. So inside underscore view start file, I can figure out which controller we are requesting. And from there, we can render the layout dynamically. Yeah, thank you, Raghavendra. Guys, please do thumbs up to
Welcome, sir.
Raghavendra as well. The next one, please. Guys, if you will not give the thumbs up to others, people also will not give the thumbs up to you. Okay. So please appreciate the others so that you also get the appreciation from others also. Got it? So training should not be boring. Do you think training is a boring thing? Because I feel people are so much concerned. Let's say our training is started from tomorrow, a boring class. So trust to me, it's not be boring. Okay, next one, please. Saurabh.
Yeah. So yesterday we learned about how to implement the command from the command line, actually from the CMD.
This thing already done. Share me another learning.
Okay, so how to use the multiple controllers in a single project, and also another DLL we can use by including dependencies by add-on, and there is class.
So the thing is, the correct learning is here. Let me correct you here. If you're willing to share the code between your older application, let's say you might be having an application from ASP.NET Web Form, you might be an application from the ASP.NET MVC 5. If you're willing to share your business logic, if you're willing to share your data access logic with your new application, which you might be building using ASP.NET Core. So we having a .NET standard library. Using the .NET standard library, the code sharing can be done. This is a learning. I'm right?
Yes.
Next one. What is your next learning?
There is two types of folders actually available in that project. One is www root, that is public, and another one is all are, that is model viewer controller, that is not visible to the direct when we were publishing that files, that is not visible. Only the JS files, library files, and jQuery files are available. The images you can put in that
So
folder.
you are willing to say here in ASP.NET Core application, by default www root folder is whitelisted, other
Yes.
folders are blacklisted. This is right term over there.
Yes.
So if you're willing to serve the static files only from www root folder, you can serve. From others, you cannot. But
Yes.
just add a one more point here. If you're willing to serve the static files from some other folder as well, you need to set up it. We can set up the other folder as well if you're willing to serve the static file.
Yes.
So how many people are writing down these points today also? Are you writing? Are you taking the notes or not?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you. Please do thumbs up. Yeah, next one, please. What's the next? Guys, please quickly share your learning. Now it's time to prove yourself. You're learning here. You're not sitting idle, isn't it?
Yes.
Hmm.
We also know the offsetting to declare like 3 configuration file for testing, for development, and the production. We have learned this thing also yesterday.
So you are willing to say we having a setting, like we having an option in ASP.NET Core where we can define the environment specific application setting. So by default, what are the app setting.json file you are having that is going to target the production environment. If let's say you're willing to define to target the another environment as well, like development, testing, like staging, so we can create app setting.development.json app settings dot testing dot JSON, app settings dot staging dot JSON. So this way you can define the environment specific application setting as well. And that environment specific database connection string, that environment specific API address, that environment specific logging library setting, we can keep over there. Is it clear? What is the next learning? Tapan.
Yes.
What is the next learning here? You said one and another.
Another, we know in the launch setting JSON, we are maintaining the for a IIS space or Chrome browser, we are maintaining the port number and the path for static dynamic path.
So there is a launch setting.json file where we can set up our application startup port number. If you are running it with the help of IS Express, if you are running it with the help of .NET CLI. So two settings you will find out over there, IS Express setting and .NET CLI. If you're willing to define anything specific to .NET CLI, we can define over there like running port number, environment variable, and same way we having IS Express as well. We can define our port number. We can define over there environment variable name so that the respective the environment specific file it start picking up. And one more thing you need to remember here, when you will publish your code, this launch setting.json file would not be the part of your published code. It is only for development machine. It is only for development purpose. It would not be the part of the your release. Is it clear? So thank you. Please do thumbs up for, I think, Tapan, I'm right? The next one, please. Are you able to recall everything what we did yesterday? Guys, can you confirm? Yeah, Ritika. Ritika, are you there? Shubhrarat. Guys, please do share your learning from yesterday class quickly. What are the other things we did?
Hello.
Yeah, Santosh, tell me.
Yeah, Santosh here. Yesterday we learned also about the full stack developer, which is the those who learned about who can develop the front end, back end, and database administration. But they are the full stack developer. That part we learn, and in practical we learned about how we create a application through console CLI.
This thing already did. Share the another learning. I know every point. What already covered. What is another learning? You cannot repeat.
Okay. We learn about the view start .cs HTML, how it works. That part
It is also covered.
I joined a bit late, so also we discussed about the history of the .NET, which is mono was there for to satisfy the cross-platform development.
And where mono we use mainly?
Sorry?
Mono where we use mainly?
Currently or earlier?
In mobile application.
Yesterday I told you where we use mono.
In mobile
So,
application.
if you know about the mono we use with Xamarin. Have you remembered?
Xamarin, yes, yes.
Xamarin is a framework for building the mobile application to target Android, Windows, and the iOS.
Yes, yes.
Got it?
Yes.
And what was your previous learning? What was your first point you told? Can you tell me again?
First point is the full stack
Okay.
developer.
Let me correct here one more thing. So guys, when it is coming to building the application nowadays, so there is a most trending role is full stack developer. So as a full stack developer, you should know the front end technology, front end framework, like you should know HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, Angular, or React. So these are the front end technology you should know. Even jQuery also should know. And as a backend technology, you should know .NET, your Web API, your Entity Framework Core, your Radio.NET. So these are the backend technology you should know. And when it is coming to the database, so make sure you having the understanding of using the SQL Server, writing the join, creating the tables, creating the SP, creating the trigger. So that is the database understanding. So a person who know these three things is referred as here a full stack developer. So when you are using with respect to .NET, it will be full stack .NET developer. When you are using with respect to JavaScript, it would be full stack JavaScript developer. When you will use with respect to the Java, it would be full stack Java developer. Is it clear? So thank you, Santosh. Please give the thumbs up to Santosh. The next one, please. Few people don't care about what is going on. They didn't doing the thumbs up. So when your turn will come, nobody will give the thumbs up as well. Do you think so? Yeah, right, all right. Ashok. Can you show your learning? Guys, be proactive. Don't wait for my start yourself. What are the learning you are having?
Yesterday also we have learned that difference between .NET 5 and .NET. What .NET 5 doesn't support, like web form, SMX service, WCF, link request, and what are the corresponding replacement for that? For web form we have MVC. For web service we have web API, and for WCF we have gRPC, and for link queue to SQL we have entity framework. And what are the compilation process for .NET and .NET Core for various languages? Like FSAP, we have FSC compiler. Like CSAP, we have CSC compiler. For VB, we have VBC compiler. And after the compilation, we have DLL generated. And for .NET Core, we have FSAP 4.1. For CSAP, we have Roslyn, like that.
So the thing is, guys, if you're looking for the compilation process of .NET Core, so step-wise, it is looking similar to the .NET framework. The changes you will find out here, they having now Roslyn compiler. So Roslyn is an open source cross-platform compiler for compiling the C#, App#, even other languages as well. Yes. And when you will compile the code, obviously you will get the IL code. That IL code further going to be used by the CLR. So here we having the core CLR. So there is a difference between CLR and the core CLR. Core CLR is cross-platform. CLR is only for Windows machine. So when it is coming to the .NET Core, we having the core CLR, and there we having a zip compiler. What is the zip compiler name over there? Who will tell me?
Just in time.
Just in time.
No, there is a just in time. What is the compiler name?
Core, it is revisit. reuse it.
Yeah, right. Compiler name is there. Reuse it. Reuse it is a compiler which is going to be used for just-in-time compiler. So it is also the zip compiler. So guys, here please do clap for Ashok. Am I right?
Devi Prasanna.
Oh, Devi Prasanna. The next one, please. Now, are you feeling you are learning something?
So
You are able
learned
to recall everything?
how core is faster than the other like framework or Java servlet. So another thing we learned that
So how it is faster? What is the reason behind it?
because in .NET framework all the class libraries are preloaded, but in .NET Core user need to choose which library he or she need to be used.
You can say over here the .NET Core is modular and is smaller. Modular means whatever the module you are willing to use in your application, that module can be added. What are the module you don't need it? It's not by default added over there. It's a modular. Okay.
And another thing we learned that why the layout is default selected and how we can modify as per
This
our
one already covered. Tell me the another learning.
Okay, so another yes, we learned some commands like .NET version, .NET space double hyphen version to get the version, then .NET some commands like shall I tell the names, command names? For .NET build, .NET space build to build the application, build the project, and then .NET space run to run the project. Likewise, we learned some commands also. And another thing we learned that how we will create new projects using the what libraries, which libraries we can use for to create API, to create MVC core application. Those are we learned.
Okay. So thank you. Just do clap for Bindeshwari.
Thank you.
The next one, guys. Who is next? Should I call the name again? Jyoti.
Hello.
Oh, yeah, tell me.
Actually, I think there is nothing left for me to share. My colleagues have already shared all the learnings, like .NET Standard Library, how we can share .NET Standard Library with our older application and ASP.NET Core application. Then what is full stack?
Okay, so we covered everything.
I think you have got it.
Okay, do we have someone in the session who think something is left?
Hello,
Tell me.
this is Shubhra. One thing is that we learn about when we host in .NET Core, then it's also decrease the bandwidth size, so the cost is also less. That also we learn. And other is how to open the application in VS Code.
Okay, so one tool which we learned yesterday, that is VS Code. So VS Code is a cross-platform development IDE you can use for building the .NET Core based application, for building the JavaScript based application. So you should use VS Code IDE over there. Okay, even when it is coming to the Angular and the React.js development, so people prefer over there VS Code. Do you know this one? Okay, guys, so we revise everything from the yesterday session. So guys, here what you need to do here for accessing the videos, I received the list of the participant email ID. So what are the official email ID you are having? Using that, please create an account over there. There's option here, create an account. So do the registration from your official email ID. We having your email ID list with us. When you will complete the registration, we will give the access to the ASP.NET Core training program. Okay. So after the registration, please write an email to support also. So you can write an email to support@.nettricks.com. Like I have completed my registration. Please assign me the ASP.NET Core training. So I'm sharing the link from where you can do the registration. Make sure everyone is using the official email ID because we have been the only official email ID list. So do the registration and drop an simple email from your official email ID. We will give you the access. Is it clear? Shall we go ahead now? Do you have any query regarding yesterday class? Are we good to go ahead? Anyone, any query, any doubt? And guys, we having a test as well in the end of the training. So make sure what are the things you are learning here, you are making the notes. Even you are revising them also. So there is a test as well. We need to score. And that is score we will share with your management. Okay. So yesterday we just started with the .NET Core and you have seen how we can create the application using the .NET CLI. Now, before starting the session, as I promised yesterday, we talk about the time management. Time management, I'm not talking today. I will tell you some other day. Today, let's talk about the daily routine. You might be thinking it is out of the syllabus, but it is very important. So guys, through the chat, please quickly tell me your get up time and your bed time. At what time you go to the bed? At what time you get up? Just share me through the chat immediately. Based upon that, I will give you some suggestion. What time and get up time. Everyone, please, it is mandatory to participate in this activity. Don't wait for others. Everyone having its own time. Okay, 6 a.m., 11 p.m. What about others? Okay. So I think everyone having the wake up time around 7 o'clock. So let's take it an average. So on an average, the people are going to bed at 11, let's say 11:30. This is the average time. And wake up time is 7 a.m. Okay, that's good. How many people do here exercise, meditation, morning walk? Anything which you do as a daily routine? Do you have such activity as a part of your daily routine? Yoga? Okay. Very few people having this habit. I think only 10% people having this habit of doing the exercise, meditation, morning walk, and yoga. Okay. So you might be thinking why I'm asking such question, because these questions are very important to balance your personal life and the professional life. Because what is happening nowadays, everyone is doing the work from home. So what is happening in the work from home? Usually we go to the bed late. We might having nowadays access to the Netflix, Amazon Prime. We having the various others online video streaming platform. So they might be killing your time. I'm not saying you should not watch the Netflix, you should not watch the Amazon Prime, you should watch it. I'm not denying over there. But please make a habit, because when it is coming to the successful people, so successful people having some habits. If you want to be a project manager, solution architect, tech lead, CTO, CEO, or it can be some other role in your company. So if you want to go to the highest position in a management in a company, so you need to prepare yourself as well. It is the same thing when you pass out the college. So that time we actually went for some personality development session. That time we went for learning the Java, learning the .NET. I'm right. But after that, as experienced people, we actually don't care about such things. And the people who don't care about such things, slowly, their growth will stop. I will not say stop over there. I will say their growth become less in terms of promotion, in terms of productivity, in every area. So if you're willing to find out the magic, like what are the secret, the people are doing well. You might having some friend with you, those are doing well in their life, whether it's a personal life, whether it's a professional life. So the reason behind it, they having some habit, because habit always help you to be successful. If you're looking at any successful person routine, whether it's a Sachin Tendulkar, whether it's a Virat Kohli, whatever the person you like in your life, it can be your APJ Abdul Kalam, any person which you find this is the ideal person for me. I'm not talking about any actor, because I don't think actors are the ideal for anyone. Just take the real example So we'll figure out those people actually having some habit in their routine. And the habits are, they always go to bed early. They always get up early. Even recently, there is a movie release, Sign and Naval. How many people watched that movie? Before that, there was a movie on Mary Kom. There was a movie on some other real identity. If you look at, even we having the movie on Sachin Tendulkar as well, we having movie on MS Dhoni as well. If you look at those movie closely, you will find out they having a habit. They having some habits. Because of those habits, they become successful. And what are those habits? Those habits are, first thing is here, you should not go to the bed beyond 11:30. So my suggestion is here, please go to the bed 11 or 11:30. Your time is fine, there is no issue. But in the early morning, you should try to wake up 6 o'clock or before 6 o'clock. You should not make it 7 o'clock. Because why I'm going to focus on the 6 o'clock, you easily getting here 7 hours sleep. 7 hours sleep is sufficient for a healthy body. So please get up 5:30 if you can, or 6 a.m. And after getting early, please do the exercise on the daily basis. Please do the meditation on the daily basis. Why I'm saying you should do it on the daily basis? Because to do that entire day activity, we need some energy. Do you know, on the daily basis, we always plug our phone on charging. If our phone is not charged, we cannot use it properly. Think about, if you're not eating one day, you will not feel energy for that day. But talk about, until you are not mentally fit, until you are not calm, so how you can manage your that day activity, that day schedule? So we need some energy. And when you're sitting for entire day on a chair, so our body start paining. Some people might having the back issue, some people might having the neck issue. If you don't have today, you might have tomorrow, I'm sure. Because when you're sitting in one position, our body start stiffing, because there is all about the muscles. So when you will do the exercise, your muscles, your body would be mobilized. Okay, it is the same thing. We do service for our car, we do the service for our mobile phone, laptop, for our bike. But have you think about, are you doing service for your body as well? We are doing service to body when we became drastically ill, then we goes to the hospital. So guys, please daily basis do some exercise. This is you're doing some service. This is about doing some charging yourself. And trust me, when you will do on this daily basis, you will be energetic for entire day. You will be full of energy. But if you're not doing this one, just figure out your daily routine. You will find out there is something is missing, lack of energy. You might feeling lazy for entire day. You might not having the what we say, the so many things over there. Because morning time for doing the exercise will make our mind charge, our body become charged, and we start feeling relaxed. And that sense actually help us to carry the all day activity. Cutting the point, what is the secret? Even any person which you find out this is the richest person in the world, he also do this basic thing. If he is not doing this basic thing, what will be the for having such money if he is not physically fit? Isn't it? Do you agree with this point, yes or no? So please make a habit to do this one. It is very, very important to everyone. If you want to do your daily routine, even I also do the same thing. Everyone do the same thing, which you find out this person is very active. This person is very fit. This person is very full of energy. The reason behind it, he do energize to himself in the morning. If he's doing, then he having the sufficient sense, sufficient energy to the entire things. This is very important. Is it fine? Second thing is, please, because nowadays you're looking at, we having two things here, physical fitness. This is about the physical fitness. I told you. Next time we'll tell you about mental fitness. Daily I will tell you 5 to 10 minutes to learn something. Time management. So I will give you the so many tips which actually will change your complete way of living your entire day. Because until you will not change your daily routine, until you will not adopt some habit in your personal life, you would not be productive. You would not be achieve whatever you have decided. So habits are very important to make a person. If you're not putting some good habit, so some bad habit might be enter into your daily style, daily routine. Remember it. There is a one thing you need to always remember. If you're not adopting some good habit, there would be some time, some bad habit would be the part of your routine. And when that bad habit would be the part of your routine, your life would not be so easy. You start not feeling well in your personal life, in your professional life. So better way is here, please, better way is here, adopt some good habit, which is helping me to grow in my career, to grow in my personal life, to grow in my professional life. Do you agree? So tomorrow, tell me how many people get up at 6 o'clock at 5:30 a.m. Tomorrow I will ask again. Let's go back to the technical things we having over there. Other things I will tell you about in upcoming session. Don't worry. My intention is here to change your complete daily routine and how we can be more productive so that CSM will increase your salary. Am I right? Because when you would be more productive, so obviously you will get some bonus or not. Okay, some people are taking lightly. Not an issue. If CSM will not give the bonus, you will start at least feeling personally good. You will not think the task is as a burden. You will enjoy it. This is the intention. So yesterday we talk about here how we can do the things in ASP.NET Core. Let me move to the next topic here. We just trying to understand. Okay, just do one thing. This is my CSM1. And I'm just making the your day-wise things. Okay. This is your day one code. I will share with you. So please open your Visual Studio and just create a new project. So make sure everyone has opened the Visual Studio. Have you opened it? And a similar way as we did yesterday, I'm just going to create my MVC application. MVC is my template. I'm selecting it. This is my template I'm selecting here. ASP.NET Core Web App. I hope today everyone having the latest version of Visual Studio. I'm right. Everyone having the latest version of Visual Studio. Can you confirm from your end, guys? Okay, very good. So please do clap to yourself. You did well. So you should also celebrate to yourself as well. When you start celebrate to yourself, you feel good. We only celebrate to others people. We should also celebrate for ourselves as well. As you having the birthday, isn't it? Okay, so today you don't have the birthday, don't worry. If somebody having, then let me know, we can take the party. Okay, so let's get started with your ASP.NET Core Web App MVC template. Click on the next button here. I'm defining my project name, let's say MVC app. Same way, I'm just going to select the same location, desktop. This is my code. And we having here CSM. Okay, I'm adding here, let's say day 2 here. And the day 2, I will save it. Now let's click on the next button. Same way I'm using here .NET 5 as a target framework. I hope today everyone is getting the same option here. Or do we have someone who is getting the different option here? Yeah, guys, do we have someone who is getting the different option? Tapan? Yesterday there were some people who are not getting.
Yes, I am getting this question.
Okay, Faguni. Okay, so this is the way how the things we have created over there, and you can see everything's looking fine to me. And yesterday, guys, I explained here a few things about this one. So let me tell you about ASP.NET Core MVC. So yesterday, just I explained few things with you. The few things today we will cover so that the everything would be clear completely. So guys, said you heard about the MVC pattern. I'm right. But how the MVC pattern is helping us for managing our application. So to understand this one, let's take the example of a web application. You're going to build a web application. So when you're going to build a web application, so we need to deal with various things. We need to deal with data. We need to deal with logic. We need to deal with the UI. And when it is coming to the data where we keep using the object, logic we write inside a class, and UIs are document object model. So guys, here, can you tell me the difference here between object and a class? How you will differentiate between an object and a class? Yeah, who will tell me?
Class is just a template. To use a class, we create an object. Basically, object is the way to interrelate the data through the class.
No, that is fine. But let's say in your application, how you will identify this is my object, this is my class. Obviously, for creating the object, you need to create a class first, then you can create the object. But at the code level, how you will identify this is my object, this is my class. That understanding I'm going to ask. I'm not asking the theory.
If we are declaring using the new keyword, where identify the
guys, again,
object.
I'm saying I'm not asking that the theory, how we create the object, what is the object. I'm asking here at the code level, how you will identify this is my object, this is my class. Even when you will refer in any design pattern book, they use these two terms commonly, object and class. And we usually got confused. What is object? What is class? Yeah, tell me.
In class, there is a extension, but in object, there no need to extend.
Whatever I will teach you today, it will completely change your understanding about object and class.
Basically, when we use a input control, that input control we consider as an object, which have different property, we assign that.
If we're talking about a normal C# language, then how we will say?
instance of a class. Object is an instance of a class.
You're right. I'm not denying. Whatever you said, everything is right. I'm not denying. But my question is here, by looking at the code, how you will identify this is my object, this is my class. Don't think I will create an object using the new keyword. No, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about only looking at the file, you able to tell. Okay, let me tell you here. So guys, here when it is coming to the object, please note down, it is very important, because whatever the things you learn about the object and class, it is only applicable to book. But when it is coming to the real life, the things are not like that way as we think. So I'm sure you heard about a definition about the object. Object are the real world entities. Am I right? Have you heard about this definition somewhere?
Yes.
So what are the real world entities? Let's take the example of an application. Let's say you're building a e-commerce application. It can be Flipkart, it can be Amazon.com. So what are the real world entities we having over there? We having the customer, we having the product. Am I right? What are these?
These are the objects.
These are the real world entities. Forget about the object. Because there is a customer who will purchase something. There is a product which is listed over there. There is an order which you are creating over there. So what are these? So these are the real world entities. So when it is coming to the real world entity, a real world entity, or you can say a real world object having the attributes. Am I right? Have you heard about the attributes of an object? So what are the attributes of a customer? Customer attributes are customer ID, name, address, contact number. What are these? These are the attributes. Am I right? Similarly, we having the product ID, name, unit price, description. So these are the attribute for the product class, for the product object. Am I right? So when it is coming to any language, whether it is a C#, whether it's a Java, what you will do to represent this object, to represent this real world entity, you need to create a customer class. Am I right? In that customer class, you need to add some properties. Customer ID as integer type, customer name as a string type, address as a string type, contact number as a string type. Similar way, you will add a product class having product ID, product name, description, unit price. Am I right? You will represent that entity like this way. Yes or no? Yeah, guys, are you there?
Yes.
So that class actually is an object. Cutting the point. So a class which is going to represent a real world object. A real world entity is referred to as an object. It's not about we will use new keyword to create it. No. In short, or you can say in simple language, you can say a class which is containing only properties is always referred to an object. Because if you look at closely, customer class having only properties, product class having only properties, order class having only properties. So those classes actually are objects in our code. Now, when it is coming to the logic, you need to create a one more class. If you're willing to add, or if you're willing to perform the database operation on the customer object, what you will create? You will, let's say, create a customer del class. In customer del class, you will add methods, add customer by passing the customer object, and you will write some logic for adding the customer into the SQL Server database. You will have another method, get customer, update customer, modify customer, delete customer. So the class which is containing the methods to perform the database operation on that customer object is referred to as a logical class. Getting it now? In simple language, a class which is containing the methods, because inside the method we write our logic. is a class? Are you able to understand the difference between object and a class? Do you think it is different from your theory, what you are telling to me? Isn't it? So at the code level, we identify like this way, which is the real world object, which is the logical class. So when it is coming to the MVC, in MVC also models are the domain objects. Controller is a class where we write our presentation logic. Similar way, we can have the another classes where we write our business logic, where we write our data access logic. Is it clear the difference between object and class, or do you have any query?
No.
Please note down, this point is very important, because people only say object is instance of a class. That's fine, I'm not denying. But when it is coming to identify at code level, that understanding will not help you. You need to start the relation with the real world entities, the real world behavior. Then you will be able to identify, okay, this is the object and this is the class. Is it clear? Then we having here UI. So UI, we talk about the document object model. Can anyone tell me about the document object model? What is the DOM? This is also the very basic question, am I right? Class is also very basic question. Object is also. Do you think we are learning basic now? From the different angle. Because until you will not understand these basics well, you will not able to understand how and why the code we write.
DOM is basically HTML and basically HTML things. DOM. It's a representation of documents. It's node and object like that.
Okay, that is actually talking about DOM tree, not about the DOM. What you're explaining to me, it is DOM tree.
Okay.
Who know about the DOM? I'm sure you learned this topic so many times when you started learning the HTML and JavaScript. Am I right?
It's a tree kind of structure.
Like
where,
that is
like the body tag, form tag, head tag. This is DOM.
Guys, what you are telling to me, you are telling to me about DOM tree. I'm not asking about DOM tree, I'm asking about the DOM only.
Okay.
How many people know about the W3C organization?
Yes.
W3C, not W3 school.
Yes. Standard.
Standard World Wide Web Consortium.
So what W3C do?
The standards, meaning the protocol, the different languages that we use, they define them.
No, not for every language they define the things. Actually, when it is coming to the DOM, have you think about any time what are the HTML markup you writing? It is rendering same, whether it's say Mozilla, Chrome, Internet Explorer, Opera, and actually each browser is made by the different company. Am I right? Chrome is from Google, Opera is from Opera, Mozilla is from Firefox. So why it's rendering my HTML in the same way in each browser? Even when we talk about a car, let's say you're just going to talk about a car. So it does not mean whether it's a Maruti car, Hyundai car, BMW, your some other company car, Audi. Car means you having four wheel, you having a steering, you having clutch, gear, brake. Do you ask such things? Does this car having 4-wheel? Does this car having a steering? Does this car having a gear? Do you ask such things when you're going to purchase a car? So actually, these are the standard for a car. These are the basic requirement, isn't it? So it does not mean whether you are driving a BMW, whether you are driving a Maruti, whether you are driving a the Audi in India, driver seat is always in right hand side. Am I right? At the same position, you will have the clutch, brake. Am I right? Do we have different position? So what it is a standard for a car in India. Same way when it is coming to the dome, so dome is a standard defined by the W3C organization. So when it is talking about technically, so dome is a application programming interface, which is helping us to render our HTML document, XML document in a browser. That's why it does not mean whether you are having the Mozilla, Opera, Microsoft, Google, they know same standard, or you can say they follow the same standard defined by the W3C. So that's why your page look like exactly same in each browser because of that DOM standard. Got it? Same thing we having in car, same thing we having in smartphone, same thing we having in bike. I'm right. Even if you're looking for in detail, I can show you. Just open their W3C website, and there you will find out the standard W3C standard for DOM. Actually, we never open the W3C website. We just learn about the book and we just believe it. You can see there is a W3C DOM 4.1 standard. If you're looking light here, what is happening? There is interface they having over there. So they having clearly mentioned if you're looking for body. This is the example they have given for body. If you're looking light here, this is interface event. This is the element they having for body. You can see what it is. It is defined here interface element. It is a node type. They define all the attributes like this way. ID, class name. Can you see here? They having this thing document dot get element by tag name, class name. We use these methods, but we don't know where these methods has been defined, isn't it? So if you will refer this website thoroughly, you will understand DOM is a standard defined by this company W3C, and because of that, everywhere we having the same behavior of our JavaScript code, of our HTML code. Is it clear now? And when it is coming to representation of our HTML markup, that representation we do with the help of DOM tree. Is it clear now? Have you learned something new today about DOM, class, and object? These are basics, but very, very important. And guys, here one more thing I want to clarify here. Guys, over the Stack Overflow, over the Google, you will find out the code for those problems which are common. Let's say I'm willing to perform the CRUD operation on a table. I'm going to create a login page, sign up page. So these are the common problem in development. So these solution you can find out easily over the Google and Stack Overflow. But guys, when it is coming to invent something or create yourself, So that need actually the fundamental knowledge perfectly. If a person know the fundamental concept well, in spite of not having any help over the Google and Stack Overflow, he will able to complete the task. So innovation comes from when you know the fundamentals, basics of any language and framework well. If your basic are not good, you cannot innovate. Remember this point always. You can do the task, you can do the work. I'm not denying, because at Google, Stack Overflow, things are available. But when it is coming to build it, that task which is not available on Google and Stack Overflow, that need the good and sound knowledge of basics. Using that understanding, you can think about how can I use this one, and start building these things. Isn't it? Is it clear? So don't worry, your basic I will make good. After this training, you will feel you learn a lot. Not only MVC core, you learn so many things which are the part of your life, of development life. So now if you're looking at the models, so models are the domain objects in our application which we define in different layers. So when it is coming to the data access layer, it's a data model. When it is coming to the business layer, it is a business model. When it is coming to the presentation layer, it would be presentation model. You can have service model as well if you're defining inside the service layer. So models we can define in different layers. I hope models is clear now. Models are nothing. Model are the domain objects which we define in different layers. And about the object, I already told you. Any object, any class which is representing to a real world entities is an object. In data model, it is going to represent a table, customer table, user table, product table. So whatever that entity you are having to represent that table will refer to as a data model, or you can say entity. Usually in entity framework core, we say them as entity. Am I right? Then we having the next thing. Next thing is about the view. What are the different types of view we can create here? So whatever the information you are going to display to the user, that information we always display, or you can say we always represent with the help of view. So what are the different types of views available in ASP.NET Core? We having a standard view. So standard view example is here. Let's say you're going to create a home page, about us page, contact us page, where you're just displaying some basic information, some static information. So those pages we can create with the help of the standard view. The second one, we having a strongly type view. A strongly type view having a dependency on a model class. Sometime you need to create a login page with two text boxes, username and password. And whenever the user will enter the wrong values over there, you need to display the error message as well. If somebody is not entering the value, so you need to show the error message. Please enter username, please enter password. So in that case, we create a strongly type view. And the validation part we define at model class level. Let's say username is required, password is required. All these things we will do with the help of example. Don't worry. Right now I'm telling everything in theory so that you will understand the theory first, then we do the implementation. So make sure everyone is taking the notes. Whatever I'm telling you here. So we having the strongly type view over there. Whenever we are willing to take the input from the end user, or whenever we are willing to display to the user from the database, from the REST API. So that time also we create the strongly type view for listing purpose. The next type of view we having here, partial view and view component. Sometimes it happens in our application, we are willing to reuse a section of the page. Let's say we having the header section, we having the footer section. So that section we can design using the partial view. So partial view is a way to create the reusable UI component. So whenever you are willing to create the reusable UI component, we use their partial view. So as a partial view, we having the header, we having the footer, or you can have a right sidebar where you might be displaying the list of category. That is a partial view. But sometimes it happens, you might be displaying some information from the database. Let's say you having the comments corresponding to an article, you might having a list of categories, you might having a latest news update on your website. So where you are reading something from the database, from a API, so there we use view component, or you can say view component is a way to render the content inside a section, inside a reusable section from the backend, from the database. So we having the static partial view and we having the dynamic partial view. So dynamic partial view here we are creating using the view component. And when it is coming to here, there is a one more view, that is layout. Even yesterday also I just told about the layout. So layout is a page, it is a master view where we define the layout for our web page. And what are the main things we having at the layout? We having the header section, we having the footer section, we having the right sidebar. So those things we having the layout. Now let's do the hands-on of these different types of views. Open your code and your Visual Studio. If you're looking at in the Visual Studio, this index.cshtml is example of, can you tell me which type of views it is? Index and privacy. How will tell?
Standard view.
So these are the example of standard view, because we are just displaying here some standard information. Nothing is coming from the database. It's a basic view we have created. If let's say you're willing to create a strongly type view, how you can create? So in that case, you need to create here a controller. I'm adding a controller. Please guys follow to me. Just add a controller and I'm defining the controller name as account. So create a controller inside your controller folders and define that file name as account controller. And I'm using here MVC controller empty. So make sure you are also taking the same file MVC controller empty. And when you will create, please do let me know. So this is my account controller I'm adding here. And let's say I'm willing to create here a login page. So for login page, what I will do, I will add here a login as an action. So what I did here, I just rename my index action as login. So make sure you have also rename your index action with the name login. Have you done it?
Yes.
Okay, now to create the login page, we need to first create a model first. Just go inside the models folder, just do right click here. I'm adding the class name as login model. This is my login model. So what I'm doing here, I'm just adding a login model class inside the models folder. So just do right click at the models folder and add login model over there.
Shalendra, can you repeat once? Right click on the model, then
add new item.
Add new item.
Then you will get this window.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm just adding here a class like this way. Now on this login model, I'm adding here a few properties. Let's say string, username. Then we having another property, a string, password. So two properties we added here, one for username, another for we having for password. And for these two property, we will create the text boxes. So it's a simple login model class where we having two properties, username and password, this way. So what I will do here, I need to create here a login view. Code I share in the chat, from there you can copy. So just do right click at the login action. Guys, please follow to me. Have you created the login model class? Can you confirm through the chat window? Today I need the proactive from your end.
Yes.
Make sure you have done the exercise also. I'm sure from tomorrow you will do the exercise and you would be proactive, isn't it? I want to see the difference of your exercise, of your meditation. Okay, so just do right click here at the login action and we having the option add view. I'm just adding here a view. It is the same way as we did yesterday. I'm not doing anything new here. It's simple. I'm just adding here razor view. This is my option I'm adding here. Click on the add button and here you will find out it is showing the view name as login. This is my view name as login. Just give it as it is. I'm not changing anything here. I'm just going forward as default setting. Just click on the add button. So what it will do, it will add a login view, which we have created based upon a login action inside my account controller class.
Template we have to select without model or template we have to select?
Empty one, the second one. There are two templates are coming, first and second. So just select second one. So always make a habit when you're adding a view, razor view, not the razor view empty. This template you have to always select. So have you added the login page?
Surrender, it is showing, it is an error showing. There was an error running the selected code generated. Failed to build the project. It's the build error.
So check out, make sure you are not having the build error as you having yesterday.
No, that is not the thing. I think
First build the code. No. What about others?
can you go to login model CS?
And login model. I have not used login model so far, so I don't think there should be an issue. If you did any mistake here, then might be the error. And guys, please keep on the eye on the chat window. Through the chat, I will share the complete code because I know it's not able to write everything yourself. Try to understand what I'm teaching here. That is very important.
Okay.
What a code I'm sharing, use that one and try to understand what concept we are talking about, why we are doing this one. Because if you will understand the concept, you will be able to understand the code as well. Otherwise, if you're focusing only on writing the code, not understanding the concept, there is no use of this training. I'm not saying to you, it is for everyone. Please try to understand what topic we are discussing here and how we are doing. That is very important.
I am also having the same error. There was an error running the selected code generator.
Can you share your screen? You will not able to generate the code until there is an error. So make sure you're building the code, your code is building properly. Until there is an error while building the code, you will not able to do it.
Please enable the screen sharing.
Now you can.
This error is coming.
First build the code.
There may be error in login model.
Can you cancel it? Build the code. Make sure before using this one, you are building the code. You can see
Semicolon is left.
In the set, there is a semicolon left. Sometimes it happens while typing, we do silly mistake. It's with everyone, it's not you.
Just use the PROP key shortcut so that it will automatically generate it. There is no mistake for the semicolon.
Even you can see, I also follow some shortcuts. So the shortcuts I'm using, if you will start using that one, such mistake you will not do. What about the other person who having the same issue? Is it working fine?
Yes, yes.
Good to go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going to create here now strongly type view. So strongly type view we can create after adding a reference of
Please
model
share the
class at the
screen.
top level. At the top of your view file, you need to add a reference of your model class. So at the rate model, and this is my login model. Now this is my strongly type view. So after adding this line, this will become the strongly type view. So every strongly type view having a reference at the top level of the model. Now, based upon this model class, we can create a form. What I'm doing here, I'm just adding here a form. So as a form, I'm using here ASP does action. So the action is a login. ASP does controller. It is here account. I'm adding here a div. As a div, I'm using here username. I'm adding here a text box. So I'm using here input type text. Then we having ASP4. This is for username. So we don't have the server control as we having in the web form. Here we need to use the pure HTML element. Input type password and ASP4 password. I can add here a button now. Div. This is my button input type submit value. We having the login. So this way what we have done, we created a login page based upon the model class property which we have defined in login model. So in login model, we having the username, we having the password. So based upon that, we created the things. So if you're willing to use this entire code, I can share through the chat, you can copy and use it. And when you will complete, please do let me know. Code I shared through the chat window, you can copy from there. So this is about the strongly type view we have created. So I hope you understood now how to create a strongly type view. Please do confirm when you will complete it. Okay, if you have completed, let's proceed to the next one, like how we can create a partial view. And guys, here one more thing need to understand here, the understanding about how it is knowing which view we need to render. Okay. So when it is coming to here, the account controller, like what are the controller you are defining in this controller folder? So this account controller is mapping to this account folder here, and this home controller is mapping to the home folder. It means corresponding to each controller, we having a folder usually inside this view folder. And here you can see we have been using here view method. So this view method, it's not returning any file name over here. So what it will do, it will look for a file name having the name as login. So do we have any file with the name login? So this login file, it will look inside this account folder over here. If account folder having this login file or not, if it is having, it will serve it. Sometime it happens, this login file is not in this account folder. So do we have any place where it look for the file? Yeah, we having a place, it also look into the shared folder as well. So there are two places for looking a file. The first is here, the folder that is corresponding to that controller, that is here account. If and login file is in the account folder, it will serve from there. If let's say login file is not available in the account folder, it will look inside this shared folder. If let's say file is not available in both the places, it will give us the error. Error is we try to find out the login file, but we didn't find it. Let's see how it is showing the error so that everything is clear. Do you have any query regarding this workflow, how the mapping is working here? Mapping is here corresponding to controller. We having a folder here corresponding to this login action. We having this login file over here. And this login file, it always search for two places, inside this account folder and inside this shared folder. Is it clear? Now run the things here and you will see it will open the account login file. So to access it, I can access it here. Let's say account / login. It is rendering my login page perfectly. Now, if let's say I'm changing the file name from login to login1, then what will happen? It will give the error now because we don't have any file login inside account folder and inside shared folder. You can see where it is looking for the file. It is looking for the file at these two locations, account folder and shared folder. But the view login was not found. That's what is giving this error. So by default, these are the two locations where it always look for the file. If one of the location file is available, it will serve it. Otherwise, it will give this error. Got it? Are you getting the same thing when you're trying to request the same URL here? Account login. Can you confirm from your end also?
Yes.
If let's say login file is available both the places, then which file it will render? So let's say I'm adding the login file here and login file here also. And here just added the only this one, login. So now which file it will render? Inside the account folder, like this file it will render, or this file it will render. Now login file we having at both places. Tell me.
Inside the account folder, it will.
Hash will check the account folder. If the file is not available, then it will check from the shared folder.
So
Runs
first,
the account folder login.
Hash will check from the account.
so it will first render the file only from the account folder. This is the first priority we having. Then we go to the next priority here. But let's say if you want to render the file from shared folder, do we have any way? If you want to render the file from shared folder, can we render it?
Then you will remove the login from account.
No,
folder.
I don't want to remove.
And maybe
So
Can
in
you
that
use
case,
View Studio?
no, you don't do this. You need to define the full path here. Which file you want to render here? This way. Views, shared, then file name, login.cshtml. Now it will not go inside the account folder because here we have defined the complete path, a complete address. It would directly look inside the shared folder, login file, this way. So you can define the complete path over there from which folder you are willing to render a view. Now let's see how it is working here. If you will try to access now account login, it is coming only login. Because in the account folder, we having the text boxes as well, but in the shade, we having only login text. Got it? So it is working fine. So try this one and do let me know. So similar way, I can render the file from any folder. It is not about the shade folder. If let's say you're willing to render the file from home, I can mention the home as well. So I can mention here home as well. Let's say home. Then we having the index.csv. Any folder path you can mention over there. Is it clear? So now do we render this file? Home index.cshtml. Shiva Mohan, I will come to the action result. Don't worry. Hold on.
Okay.
So good to go ahead. Or do you have any query? Guys, can you confirm from your end, please? Have we completed this one? Okay, thank you. So now the thing is, sometime it happens, you are willing to render the file from same account folder itself. Let's say this file name is login1. So can I render it? Login1 also. So login1 you can render. There is a one syntax is just defined like this way, account and login1 is the one style. But I don't prefer this style because it is already inside the same folder. I prefer this one. Define only file name. That's it. Login1. So when file is the part of the account folder or inside the shade folder, so just pass the file name. It automatically look first inside the account folder. If it is not available here, it will look inside the shade folder. So this is also the way we can pass the file name, but it is possible only when it is a part of the same account folder, not inside the different. So is it clear now how the mapping is working between the controller, action, and view? So good to go ahead. Okay, the next thing we having here partial view. As I said here, partial views are used to create the reusable section. So if you're looking at here, this is my header. And this is my container, this is my footer. Even yesterday also explained header, container, and we having the footer, this one. So always we having the three section in a website, header, container, footer. Same way, the header and footer we can reuse by creating the partial view. So just do one thing, just do right click in the shade folder and there you will find out the option add view. Select the add view here. I'm selecting the add view. And for add view, we having here again razor view. Are you selecting the razor view here? Again, same thing. One change this time need to do here. Make sure you have selected this, create a partial view. I'm defining a partial view for header. So changes what I'm doing here, I'm just changing the change here and create as a partial view. Then click on the add button. So this way need to add here a partial view. Are you adding a view this time with the name underscore header? And make sure you have checked the checkbox create as a partial view. And then click on the add button. Is it clear? Have you added?
Yes.
Everyone?
Yes.
So now click on the add button to add it. So this is my header. I added here. Now let me cut. Now open the underscore layout. From the underscore layout, just cut out your header section and put completely here. So what are the header section we having at the underscore layout? We cut it from there and putting into this underscore header file. So have you added underscore header here?
Yes.
Okay, now open underscore layout file. And here we having the partial tag. As a partial tag, I'm using a name. Then we having here header. This way I can call it. So I'm calling it here using this syntax, partial tag, the name, header. This is a syntax you need to write on the layout page. This is the layout page. Spendana, I have not write any new code here. It's simple. It is an older one. I just cut from the underscore layout and put it over there. I didn't write any new code. Only partial tag I added that I shared. One line, two line code.
Actually, I didn't get it. That's why layout.
At the
in
layout, we having
body
a
section.
header. We having a header tag before the body.
Yes, sir.
This is my container. Before the container, what are the code you having? That is your header. Simply.
Okay.
When we create a partial view, it should be on the shared folder.
Yeah, by default, we keep inside the shade folder so that we can access it from anywhere.
And in which section it mentioned that it is a partial view? We have created to
It is
check
not
the
mention anything. As a naming convention, we put underscore before it. And partial view does not have a top label section.
no. When we are creating a view, there is a checkbox to click as a partial view. That's my question is where it mentioned that it is a partial. If I will not check the
same thing I'm saying. If you will not check the checkbox also,
then
that time also I can create the partial view. The difference between partial view and a normal view, you will find out a normal view having this section.
okay.
But a partial view normally don't have this section.
Okay. If we will create a HTML page, blank page, then it will be as a underscore, then it will create as a partial view.
No, there is no such things. Partial view can have underscore, cannot have underscore. Actually, the uses of this view file will decide it. Any view you can use as a partial view. So it would be decided at time of uses. I'm using it using the partial tag. Whatever the view I will mention here, that is start rendering here as a partial view. So we don't have any such predefined things. Let's say this is the only partial view. Uses of that view file will be decided whether it's a partial view or not. So that's why for our understanding, we put underscore as a prefix before a partial view name, so that we can understand it's a reusable file, because extension is same, everything is same. In web form, we having the different actions, and partial view is similar to the
distinguish between normal view and partial view.
Yeah, there is no.
If we want to, meaning we want some dynamic content, then we can put it in the partial view.
You can put.
And how will we write the code for that partial view? Meaning which controller it will?
You need to pass the model over there to the partial view. Let's say you're having a list of command. To let the list of command you need to pass when you're calling the partial view, and at the partial view label you can read it using a model property.
No, but how will the data come to the model?
Data will come from your controller. When you will access it, you will enter it using this one of the action. So that model will get the data using this action.
But partial view we are using within layout. So meaning whatever we will pass to the main view, from there the partial view will take the data.
No, for that purpose, we don't use partial view actually. We use only view component. So view component is a example which I'm going to cover soon. Hold on.
Okay.
Where data we can fetch from the backend and display over there. So whenever there is a requirement to render something from the backend, from the database, we don't use partial view. We use view component over there. But it does not mean the partial view cannot use in that case. It can be used if you are passing the model directly to partial view. That is another case. Is it clear?
Yes.
Similar way, we can create a partial view for the footer as well. I'm adding here one more partial view for my footer. So I'm adding here underscore footer. And at the footer label, you can copy this footer section and put it here. Similar way, we can have now partial, then we having the name is here, footer, this way. So we have added here two partial view, one for header, another one for footer. And if you will run the application, you will not distinguish at the UI which section is coming from the header partial view, which section is coming from the footer partial view, because ultimately we having a single UI. This is a single UI where we having the header. This is my header here, and here we having this container part, and this is my footer. This is the way how the things are coming. So we cannot distinguish which we have rendered using the partial tag as a partial view. Is it clear? Are you getting the same output here? Guys, can you confirm from your end if you are able to complete the partial views hands-on? Okay, thank you for the confirmation. Then we having here view component. Sometimes it happens we need to render the data from the database, from the backend API. So how we can use it? We can use here view component. Let's see how we can create a view component. So for creating a view component, I need to add here a folder. Guys, please follow to me. Add here a folder with the name view component. View components. View components. Make sure folder name is exactly same. View components because it is a predefined folder in MVC. And here I'm adding a new class. Have you added the view components folder? Folder name I'm sharing in the chat. If you want to see, you can copy. It's a view component folder. Now I'm just doing right click here. And there is option to add a new item. I'm adding here a class. And class name I'm defining here as comment view component. I'm adding here a comment view component here. So name, make sure you are giving same as I'm giving here. The name of the view component I shared through the chat window. From there you can copy and you can use it. And we need to inherit it from the view component class. This view component is a class which we need to use here. Public IAction view component result. Then invoke is a method. So invoke method I need to use here. Now let's say you passing here is some parameter integer ID I'm passing. So here I'm just going to render the comments for an article. So you will write some code here to fetch the data from the database based upon the ID. So fetch data from DB based upon ID. But here I'm not fetching any data. I'm creating a hard code list in this way. New list. And here I can add the things over there. Let's say good one. We having, let's say, great. This we added it. And finally, return view. And here I'm returning the data. This way. So we need to return here the view component like this way. If you need this code, I can share with the chat window. You can copy from there. So this is the way you can create the view component here. And when you will create, please do let me know.
Why the name invoke?
Invoke is a predefined method which is defined over there.
So only that would be the first method that would be executed or
Only,
called.
oh yeah, only one method can be there public, that is invoke.
Okay.
What is the use of view component?
View component is useful whenever you are fetching something from database. A section you're fetching from database you're displaying. If you look at here,
We can also do in the controller also. So
no,
what is the
in
difference
controller
here?
you are rendering a complete page. View component is going to render only section of the page.
Okay.
View component is to render a section of the page, not the complete page. So I think everyone has completed. Like, do we have someone who is still working?
No, completed.
Okay, that's good if you have completed. Now just do one thing here. I'm just adding here a article controller. And for article comments, we will render here. Just do right click at the controllers folder, then add a controller with the name article. So here I'm adding a controller with the name article. This way. So controller you need to add in the same way as we added before. Article controller need to add. So have you added the article controller?
Yes.
So good to go ahead now. So what I'm doing here, I'm just adding a index view for my index section. So for my index section, I'm adding an index view this way. So this is my razor view. I'm selecting it. Then click on the view name as index. And this time I'm not checking as a partial view. I'm just going to add it as a standard view. So this is my index and I'm not checking for the partial view. I'm using it a simple way. Now let's click on the add button to add this index view for the article. And here I'm adding the thing that say what is MVC. And here you can add your article. MVC stands for, let's say you're writing your article. This way, blah, blah. Okay. So what I'm doing here, I'm just going to show here this article comments. So obviously this article will have a article ID and that article ID will pass over here component. Then we having here invoke async. Invoke async. What component we having here? Component name is comment view component this way. I'm talking it. Then what are the parameters you are having from here? I can pass it. I'm passing the ID parameter, let's say 4. So this section I'm invoking here from this view component this way. And make sure this parameter name is matching with this component view. This is the ID I'm matching here. Same I mentioned over there. So this code I shared through the chat window. You can copy and use it. And to simplify it, let me add a link as well for article. I'm adding a link for article in my header. Article index. So article link I added over here. So inside my header, this link I added, which I can use. So have you completed these two things which I have done, calling the component view? Okay, it is here actually. It will come on the comment. Tell me.
Can you share the previous one, article controller? I'm not able to. I'm getting some error.
An article, I have not done anything. It's simple article.
No, before that,
before that I wrote the code for comment view component.
This can you share this?
This I already shared.
Can you share it again?
Okay, let me share this view component. And guys, make sure whenever you're calling at the article 1, you have mentioned only comment only, not the complete file. Now try to test it. Oh, so far we have not added the view actually. One thing is still missing. Have you completed this one?
Is in the header part you have write something?
Where?
Underscore header layout.
In underscore header, I just added the link so that I can navigate to the article page.
Salandra, there is no index action in article controller.
Where?
In that link, I have added that link. Action equal to index.
No, in the article 1, I'm having the index. This is one.
Yeah.
That's why I mentioned index here. And article. Got it? Anything else?
Can you use index method instead of invoke method?
No, you cannot. You cannot.
Why?
Here method name would be only invoke. Because here when we are calling it, you can see I'm calling here using invoke.
It's a predefined naming convention.
It is a predefined one.
Apart from the invoke, is there any other names, other methods?
No, you cannot.
So in each component view, we have to use invoke method.
Right.
I am getting an error called as view component. The component cannot be found. My folder structure
same thing I'm saying. We need to define view component as well, which we have not defined. I'm waiting for people to complete.
Okay, sorry.
So guys, shall we go ahead now? If you have completed, we need to add a view as well.
Yes.
Okay, so this component we are calling, but where this data will go, that UI part we have not defined so far. So for that UI part, we need to add a components. What? I need to add here a folder into article Define a folder name as components. Components. This is my folder. And what comment you are having? What component you are having? My component name is comment. Comment one. Add a one more folder comment. Then add a view inside the comment folder with the name underscore default. This is the default view we will have. It is also a partial view. This way. So I'm adding here a view with the name actually default node underscore default. Default one. So have you added this? And now here, I need to write the code for iterating that list of comment. So I can use here a nodal list. Then I can use here for each method, for each method. Oh.
Default .cshtml is partially added or just a simple
You
CSS?
have to edit. It's not added by default. I added it. So for each, then we having model li @item. So just add a components folder first, then one more folder comment inside the components, and inside the comment folder add a file with the name default.cshtml. And now at the default.cshtml, you need to write the code which I write here. So code I shared through the chat window. From there you can copy and use it simply.
Sarendra, why you have selected a partial view? You can take a standard view.
It is just like a partial view. It's not a normal view. Because we are going to render a section of the page, not the complete page. Got it?
Narendra, can you just component comment you have created right in the component? So can you show the code again? Just I'm lost somewhere. After
Command code I shared in the chat, you can copy from there.
Okay.
You're talking about comment view component over here.
This is done. After that, you have created article, right?
After that, I created an article controller.
Yeah, that article
Then
controller.
for article, I just added an index view over there.
Then
this
okay.
is my index view code.
And just share it, please.
Then you need to add a components with the name comment.
Okay.
So have you completed now? Now run the code and check out whether you are getting the article with comments or not. It is coming here, article ID is coming, which I can use for filter, and now comments are coming. Is it fine?
So instead of a default view, if I will create a different partial view of different name, then where it will be mentioned?
Can you say again?
You have created a partial view named default. So where it is called?
It is
Default
called
name.
as per the default naming convention. So it is have a naming convention. When you're defining this one, it will look for the controller where you are calling it. Controller where you're calling it, then it look for the component. This is a predefined path. Then component name. Then default.cshtml. These are default location, it always such. As we having in case of index, it by default looking inside account folder, then in shared folder. This is a predefined location.
Yes.
Similar way, we having the predefined location for comment as well.
Okay, if I will create a different view other than default, then how will you call?
Which one?
Suppose you will create a different view under comment folder.
Then it will not render. If you're creating a different view here,
Yes.
then it will not render. It will always look for the file name as default only.
Okay, okay.
So every controller where we will use this particular view component, we will have to declare a component folder within which there will be a default.cshtml.
Yeah, right. If it is default setting you are following. But I didn't prefer this default setting. I prefer the shade one. What I will do here, instead of defining over there, I will add my view here in my shade folder. And from there, I will render it. I prefer this style. Comments. You can change that. The default, you don't need to follow. You can change this as per requirement. So I usually prefer the shade folder style. So there, what are the code I wrote here? I'm just going to cut, putting here. Now come to the view component.
O is missing. It might not.
Name does not matter, but you should give us. So here I'm putting note this way. I will pass my file name now this way. In the same way as we did before. Views shared, then comment.cshtml. I prefer this style. Instead of going to hook up for this default folder location, better way is here keep at a specified place. Now I can use it anywhere without any worry for defining this default folder location. Got it? Even this folder location you can keep in the shared folder as well. If you're willing to call it from anywhere, so just same folder you need to define in the shared as well. Got it? That is also possible. As we define the index file in the shared, similar way I can define same folder in shared, then components, then comment, then default. So it will, if it will not find out inside the article, it will find out inside the shared one. Got it?
I am still getting the same error of view component.
Let me run it. I'm on the article page now. Let me remove the breakpoint. It's working fine in my case.
Also having the same error. Can you open the index page? Index.css
Index page,
Index
last
view.
moment I change one thing.
Yes,
It
yes.
should be only comment, not comment view component. This change I did last moment.
Here,
Yes,
here
that is
view
why.
component is comment. Okay.
Yeah.
And
We never include the controller when we calling the controller. Similar way, when we are calling the V component, we never include the V component. Got it? We only include the.
then why it is the postfix view component used in that person in that class?
Which one?
Public class comment view component.
Sir, these are the predefined location for searching the view component at the framework level.
Suppose if you write a comment index from view component base class, so it will throw an error
Where?
inside the view component.
What you are willing to add
Please
here?
open it component view component.
Hmm.
Here it is mentioned public class component view component. Suppose I write component, only component index from view component base class. So should it throw an error?
No.
So that prefix is a flow use view component. We can use only comments.
That's why I'm saying suffix is not making any difference here. Without suffix, it will work without an issue. You can see it's working fine. Got it. I remove the suffix, it's working.
And in that return type, I view component result. If
Here
I use
it is
IAction,
same. It is same. It should be same.
it should be same.
I am also getting error in article. Am I doing something wrong? Can I share my screen?
We will take the query after the break. Okay. Let's have a 10 minutes break. After that, we will see what are the errors you are facing. Meanwhile, try to debug
Can you show
yourself.
the underscore comment.html page?
There's the same code I wrote in the default.css.html. Nothing is new. So guys, let's have a 10 minutes break. After the break, I will take your query, whatever you are having. So guys, let's get started again.
Actually, I have one doubt. Hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Actually, when you have created a view component, then in which section you will declare the server side part or any code. After that, you have created a article. Then in article, you have created another folder is components, and under component there is a component. You have declared one view as default index. In this section, I have one doubt.
Now tell me a doubt. What doubt do you have?
Confusing these two views.
Shailendra, can you repeat that portion again? That how you created this comment inside that component?
It is a simple class. It's not any specific one. You need to just add a new item. Just add a simple class here. Let's say I'm adding a class for any of the purpose. Let's say category. I'm adding a category class. It's up to you whether you're putting view component as a suffix or not, or you can skip as well. Okay. Yes, I'm adding here category as a view component. Then I will inherit it from the view component. This way. Add the missing namespace. It is simple class. Isn't it? So have we solved this error?
No.
Everyone?
No.
Yes, yes.
Can you share your screen, the people who are facing the issue?
When I click
Yes, I'm
article,
sharing.
this type of error has come.
Hmm. So have you added the article one over there?
Article 1.
Where you added your default file?
Default file I have added here.
If you
Is
will see
anybody
the
sharing his screen?
if you will see the spelling in comment, there is a triple N. There is a spelling mistake. Fix that one. Just figure out, are you doing any typing mistake? Because usually when you are doing any typing mistake, it happens. Working fine.
Shall I share my screen?
Hmm.
I'm getting this error.
No, have you added the article properly?
Controller.
Your controller name is article controller 1, not the article. Can you stop the project?
Yes.
Rename the file name here. And can you check your layout? Header. Now it is fine. Now in the code. What about others, guys? Are you able to run the code at your end? Everyone, can you confirm?
Suppose I am creating it within the shared folder. So within shared folder, it will be components folder. Then within it, I will create a view with the same name as my view component. That is the structure, right?
Yeah.
Just
change your folder. Just change your folder name. Open your views folder. There also you having the article. Is this fine article? You don't have here index file. You don't have index file here.
Okay.
At the index file, it will start working. Stop the code. CSHTML. It's not a C# file, it's a HTML file.
Yes, yes, yes. Can I rename here or I need to recreate?
You can rename, you need to just change the file. When you are adding the view, you should always add the view from the controller action. Don't add directly. The better way is here, just open the article controller, go to the index action, just do right click. That is the way to do it.
Yes.
Always add the view from here. It's simple. Anyone else having the issue?
Sarindra, after that, please check my things. I want to share this screen.
Can I stop your sharing?
Yes.
Ashwin, good evening.
Can you share the screen? Who was left?
Yeah. Here, inside article, how it is, how you have created this comment folder and
Do right click, add a folder.
here.
Silver desktop रे देखौची आर्टिकल मैप जोड़ा क्लिक कले डाटा देखौची काउंट गुडा ता मोबाइल रे एक्सेस कले देखौनी
Santosh, please mute.
You need to right click at the article folder, then add components folder there, then comment.
Right. Article folder, then add folder, add controller,
add folder,
add folder.
Okay. Comments, sorry, components.
Components.
Then add one more folder, comment. Then add a file here, default.cshtml.
Show me comment. Then right click.
Add a view.
Add view.
Default.cshtml.
Razor view, right?
Right.
Default dot. This is empty. Use layout page. Add, right?
Default.cshtml. Define the name, view name as default.
Okay. Okay, now I have to run the IS, right?
Add the code here for showing the comment.
Okay, that code we have shared, I think.
Guys, if you have not divided your screen into two parts, you will not able to do the hands-on. Even you can do one more thing, you can join the same meeting using your mobile phone. In the mobile, you can see my shared screen. Okay, and write the code in your system screen. That is also possible. Because nowadays we having a very good mobile phone as well. I'm right. You can join the meeting from mobile phone as well, then open it. Just use mobile phone as a secondary screen.
That code, I think you have not shared. Can you share it?
code I shared, but it was be
this one for
it is just a simple for each loop. I shared the code right now. Just copy from there.
this much. Okay. I have to write here only dim default.
Remove everything from here. Guys, what about others? Everyone has completed this sample. Can you
No.
confirm through the chat window?
Surendra, it's not showing.
I cannot see your complete screen. I can see only your Visual Studio. Share your complete screen. Stop the screen sharing and share it again as a complete screen.
Okay. This
Have you added the link over there on article? It is not there. Controller name should be article. Not here. Controller.
then to stop and or I will refresh it.
Stop and run it. So just click on the restart button in the right hand side. There is a restart.
Okay.
Open the Visual Studio where the error is coming. It is saying the object reference not found. Have you did? Are you returning something from your view component? Open the comment view component CS file.
Yeah.
So why this giving this error? Can you put the comment default.cshtml?
Default.
Where the error is coming in this page?
Yeah. When I'm clicking article, after that is it.
I think comment folder is COMMENT. You can rename.
The M you are missing in the comment.
Okay, okay. Rename it. Stop.
So it will work fine. It's fine.
Okay then. Okay, I'll check. Yeah. You continue.
So why the thing is, next thing we having a controller. So when it is coming to controller, so controller is a C# class or VB class. And inside a controller, we define the action method and we define the regular method. And if you're looking at here, this is my article controller. And this is my method I'm having. Let's say I'm adding here one more method, public integer add. Guys, make sure you're following to me. Integer y. And what I'm doing here, I'm just returning the sum of these two numbers. So can you tell me here which is here regular method and which is here action method?
Index is an action method and add is a regular method.
Actually, it's not the right one, because this add method I can also call from the outside. So you have to remember here one rule. The rule is all the public method inside a controller are always action method. So this is also the action method, because this I can call by making a request. So any method which you can call by making the request will refer to as an action method. Or you can say any method inside a controller class which is responding to user action or user activity is an action method. So I can call here my article add method, and I'm passing here x equal to 5 and y equal to, let's say, 2. Enter it, and you can see I'm getting here 7. So I'm getting here 7. The reason is here I'm able to call the add method, and they are these two things we passing over there. Got it? How it is working? So any method which you're able to call it from the URL or by making the request will refer to as an action method. Same thing is here working. But if let's say I change the access modifier from public to private, or from public to, let's say, protected, then it will be here only, then it will become here regular method. So now it is a regular method because I cannot call it by making the request. So how to identify which method is action, which method is regular? So identification is all the public access modifier methods are regular method, and if we don't have the public access modifier, let's say private, protected, so those are the regular method. Even if you still want to make it public and you want to make it as a known action, so we having here one more things, known action attribute. This is also the style. So a method can be converted to the regular one if you will change the access modifier from public to private or protected, or if you decorate that method with the known action attribute. So in that case, that method would be the only regular method. Is it clear about the regular method and action method? Nothing is new, it's simple. So you can copy this code and put it. Now the next thing we having here about the action result. So when it is coming to here action results, you can find out we having the different types of action result. So we having here empty result, JSON result, content result, file result, we having view component result, view result, partial view result, redirect to action result. And all these result classes are directly and indirectly are inherited from the this action result class. And they even also implementing the interface IActionResults. This is the IActionResult interface. So if you know about the OOPS in the C#, a child class object we can pass to the parent class instance. Or if we have implemented an interface inside a class, so that implemented class object you can pass as a reference to the interface instance. So you might be thinking, when we creating any action, everywhere we are using here action result. So the action result interface actually we have implemented in all the result type classes. So that's why this can be used as a return type. If you're looking at this return view method, this return view method return type is view result. Similar way, you can have the any other result class as well. Let's say JSON result, redirect to action result. So that's why we are able to use here IAction result. And one more thing to consider here, this is my add method, which is going to add two numbers. And I know this is going to return here integer value. So I always prefer to give the return type as integer. Should we mention here the return type as an object here? Do you think we mention the return type as an object? No, because I know this method is going to return the integer value. Same way, when you are sure about the exact return type of your action method as a best practice, you should use it view result this way. So here the best return type is here view result, not the IAction result. IAction result is perfectly valid when this action method is returning the multiple type of data. It can return, let's say, view data. It can return, let's say, JSON data. It can return some other data. The same way we having this add method. So this add method might be returning the integer value. This add method might be returning the string value. This add method might be returning the decimal value. So we prefer to use object type because object is a base class for all the type in the C#. Similar way, IAction result and the action result would be the base type for the result type in the MVC. So that's why whenever our method is returning the multiple result type, their IAction result or action result are preferred. But whenever we are sure about the return type of our action method, we always use the exact return type. Is it clear? When to use IAction result or when to use this view result or the specific one? Do you have any query regarding this one? I will show the use case of the action result as well, but where it is recommended to use. So let's say this is my login action. Now let's say when you will submit on the button, so data will come here. Login model. Guys, please do follow to me, add a login action over there. And then add here a return view this way. So now here there are two possibility. The first possibility is if everything is fine, if model state is valid, and we have checked out the username and password validity also in the database. So we can redirect to the dashboard page, return, redirect to the action, redirect to action. Action is your index. This way, where it can go to the home page. This is one possibility. And the second one is here, if let's say you have not entered the username and password properly, you have to go back to the same view again. So my return type is here view result. So now here I cannot mention the return type as view result. The reason is here my method is returning two types of action, two types of result. It is returning view result. It is returning redirect to action result. So we should have a common class which can be the parent for this redirect to action result and this view result. So I'm using here IAction result, perfectly valid here. Is it clear now? Where IAction result is going to simplify the things and where view result is recommended to use or JSON result is recommended to use. So make sure for a specific case, use a specific type. For multiple return type, use IAction result. I hope it makes sense. So do you have any query regarding this one or shall we go ahead? Ashok, Ananda, Aminder, Ritika, Santosh. Guys, are you there? Please do confirm.
Yes.
So have you added this login action as well? I'm sharing the code. Please complete this login inside the account controller. So code you need to just copy and paste from the chat. I shared the code from there. Similar we can complete for article as well. So it's simple, non action add this way. So have you completed this one? Good to go ahead now.
Yes, completed.
Login model will accessible when you will add the namespace. Add the namespace of that missing one. Okay. So now the next topic we having here, how the communication is happening between model, view, and controller. So whenever you are making any request in ASP.NET MVC core, so let's say you are requesting this URL you are requesting. So this URL is when you are accessing the interaction of the user start from this controller. Then controller process the things with the alpha model, and finally what are the result is prepared, return to the view. So the communication start from here, then start here, then coming to the view this way. So if you look at here between controller and view, we having the solid arrow, but between model and view, we having the dash arrow. Because model and view cannot have full dependency. Or you can say a view we can create without a model class. It is not mandatory to create a model to create a view. So controller and view are having the full dependence on each other, but model view having the partial one. So when this page will render into the browser successfully, so user interaction is start from the view page. So now the user will update some values in the text boxes, and what are the values that has updated will submit to the server. So now the value will submit it to the server. Now at the controller label, either we can show on the same page information has been updated, or on the different page we show the record has been updated successfully. So this is the way how the communication is happening between controller and view. And sometimes a view we create based upon a model class. So in that case, we having the partial dependency sometimes on a model class as well. So when it is coming to the strongly type view, that time we use model first, then create the view. So this is the way how the interaction is starting. It start from here, then it process it, and finally what the result is prepared, it return to this view. Then user start interaction here, submit the value, and it coming go back. And sometimes it having the dependency on a model class where it is needed. Is it clear now how it is working? Guys, do you have any query regarding the model view and controller communication, or is it clear?
See, in which case model directly interact with view means this presentation portion.
In case of a strongly type view, you need to first create the model, then we create the view. Even if you're looking at when we created the login page, that time we've added the login model first. Got it?
Right.
Then we created the things over there.
Right.
So this view having a dependency on a login model class. So this is the example of that.
Okay.
Anything else? Is it fine? Okay, one more thing I want to here clarify. Like sometimes the people compare the MVC with 3-tier. Let's say we having the MVC. This is my, let's say, dull layer. This is my, let's say, bell layer. This is my, let's say, presentation layer. And we having, let's say, MVC, where we having, let's say, a model, where we having, let's say, controller, and where we having, let's say, view. So can we compare the MVC with 3-tier like this way? Let's say Dell, Bell, and PL. This is the one. And here, let's say we having model, we having here controller, and we having here view. Can we compare like this way? Yeah, guys, can you tell me?
No.
So what is the difference here between 3-tier architecture and MVC architecture? Who will tell this? So what is the difference between MVC and this one? Even there is one more interesting thing which I feel the people having the confusion. What is the difference between layer and tier? Can you explain the difference between layer and tier? Because we say unlayer architecture and tier architecture.
In the same solution, and the tier is
Let's say I'm
segregated
giving a use case. Just tell me in this use case. Then I will understand you know it well. Because theory everyone know, I know it. But when it is coming to the practical, everyone failed. So let's say this is my Dell. This is my Dell. And I'm telling you the project type as well. Everything in one solution. Class library, Bell. I'm adding here, let's say WCF. This is my PL as a ASP.NET Core. And this is my service, let's say, as a class library. Can you tell me here in this one, how many layer and how many tiers are possible? Everything inside one solution. So everything is inside in one solution like this way. So it is a 4-layer, 4-tier architecture. What it is? How we will decide how many tier are here, how many layer are here?
3 layer and 2 tier.
Okay, 3 layer and 2 tier. Any other answer?
4 layer and 2 tier. Layer means logical separation of code
A
or
service will
library.
be hosted in another.
Tier means
Can we-
physical separation.
So how you can separate physically them?
You can
Service
host
will be
service
service will be hosted in any server and application will be hosted in
in
another
the
server.
server.
So it can be repeated.
What about others people? Can you tell me the number of layers and tier in the chat? Let's say 2 layer or 2 tier, whatever you having the answer. Can you share me the answer through the chat so that I will see at once? Share me the layer as well. 2 tier, comma. What are the layers you're having? And don't copy to others because people are wrong here. Guys, please quickly share your answer. So do you think it is very important to know layers and tier concept? Okay, let me make you here clarification. How actually we identify how many layers and tier in the code. It is going to be identified based upon your project behavior. If your project is a hosted application, if you're looking at how many hosted application are here, WCF can be hosted, ASP.NET Core can be hosted. So based upon the number of hosted application, the number of tiers can be decided. So there are only 2 tier because only 2 application we can host on separate machine. Other application we cannot because a class library we cannot host on a separate machine. This is also a class library I cannot host on a separate machine. So these class libraries somehow might be used by the Bell layer. This might be used by the PL layer. And by default, every tier is a layer. So it's a 4 layer architecture because we having the 4 project and we having the 2 tier because only 2 application are hosted application. This is the right answer. Okay. So if a layer is a hosted application, it will become tier. If it is not, it is only layer. Is it clear how to identify the layer and tier? Okay, now let's go to good. Now let's understand this question. The difference between 3 tier and MVC. How both are different from each other. Can you tell me the difference between MVC and 3 tier? So can you tell me the answer? Can we compare MVC with 3 tier like this way? Who will tell?
No, 3 tier means each of the tiers should be deployed separately, as you said. But in MVC, these 3 will not be deployed separately, right? All 3 of them will run together for an application.
Okay. So what MVC is doing? Using MVC, actually what we are doing? Why we using MVC? Why we are not using only 3 tier? Actually, if you look at closely, MVC is a part of presentation tier. It is a PL. So MVC is helping us to manage the presentation layer. So when you are building the application, let's say when you are following the MVC pattern, so there also we follow the 3-tier or N-tier architecture. So here also we create the dull layer separately, bell layer separately. Because using MVC, we are managing our presentation logic, not business logic, not data access logic. Is it clear now? Or do you have any query? Shall we go ahead? Okay. So this one is very important to understand how MVC is different from the 3-tier. So MVC does not mean you don't need to have any other layer or tier. We need to use there also. Now let's move to the next topic. The next topic is here Razor View Engine. What is Razor? So when it is coming to create the dynamic website, we need a markup syntax so that we can integrate our C# code inside the HTML markup. So there Razor comes into the picture. Or you can say View Engine comes into the picture. So Razor is a server-side markup syntax which is helping us to create the dynamic pages. Or in simple language, it is helping us to integrate our C# logic with the HTML markup so that we can manipulate the HTML markup as we manipulate in the C# using the if statement, switch, for loop. Even the same thing we are already using here. You can see there is a variable I defined here at my CSS/HTML page. Now this variable value need to access. So to access this variable value, need to use here @ before this variable name and variable name MSG. Similar way, if you want to use here if statement, then start it @ then if is a statement, and then I'm putting here paragraph. So this paragraph only would be generated when flag value is true. Similar way, if you're willing to show here the line number 1 to 20, you can start a for loop. So inside the for loop, I write a condition. Now dynamically paragraph we are generating here. It is similar to we having the console.write line. But in HTML, we don't have the console.write line. We having the HTML tag. So those HTML tags we are generating by using a loop. Or you can say by iterating a loop. Is it clear? So let's see how we can use the Razor View Engine inside our code. Even we already using. If you're looking at here, when we manipulated the comments, what I did here, I just use here for each statement. And inside the for each statement, this li I'm repeating a number of times. So this li is going to be generated dynamically based upon the data we have in the model class. The similar way we can have the other things as well, even if you're looking at the home controller index section. So I'm defining here, let's say string name as a name. Let's say I'm using here Mohan. And now here I can define this Mohan I can show. Let's say the name is @name. Mohan it will show here. If let's say you're willing to show here a number for loop, let's say I'm using here starting from 1 to 10. Now I want to check out if number is even or odd. If I modulus 2 equal to 0, I want to show here even number. paragraph even number. And now this even number value I want to show here @I. This way I can show it. Else I can show it here. Odd number @I. So remember it always whenever you are wrapping your C# variable inside a P tag, we write like this way: even number @I, odd number @I, this way. So this is the way we are generating the paragraph dynamically. And along with the paragraph, we are integrating our C# I variable as well to show the number. So who is helping us in this case? The Razor View engine is helping us in this case. If you don't have any markup syntax, we cannot do the manipulation over here. So just use this code and run to checkout. I added this code at the home controller index section. If we run it, you will get it. So you can see I'm getting here odd number like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfectly I'm getting. And this, the name is Mohan. Good. And guys, please do let me know when you will complete it. Okay, so good to go ahead. And do remember one thing here. You might be thinking where we need to use @, where we don't need to use @. If we're looking at here, before this if, I didn't put @. The reason is it's already inside this for loop scope. But if you're looking at this @I, I'm putting here @ because this P tag having the scope. At this curly braces having the scope, this is the starting scope, this is the closing scope. Similar way, HTML tag also having the scope. So as we having the curly braces which having the scope, similar way we having the HTML tag. So if I will wrap this code inside a div or inside a paragraph, so now it is inside the div tag scope. It is not inside the C# block scope. So what will happen? It is now as a simple text. You can see even Visual Studio is very smart. It's intelligent. It will highlight. It is highlighting it as a white, as a simple text. If you're looking at here in the C#, it is going to highlight is as a blue. It is going to highlight is a different color. So what I can do here, I can put here @. Now it is coming in violet color. You can see it should be coming in the violet color because I am using the dark theme. In your case, it would be the different theme. So make sure whenever you are wrapping your C# statement or C# variable inside the scope of HTML tag, it should always start with @ as I'm doing for this if, and as we are doing for this paragraph and I. Is it clear when to use @ when not to use @? So good to go ahead now. Please try this one also so that the things are clear to you. How the @ need to apply. So now if you will run the code, it is start working fine without an issue. So this I'm getting here, odd number, even number, odd number, even number. So perfectly it is working fine. So shall we proceed to the next topic here? Do you have any query? Amrinder, Ashok, Faguni, Jyoti, Prakash, Raghavendra. Okay. So next topic we having here about routing. What is routing? So routing is a pattern matching system that monitor the incoming request and figure out what to do with the request. So what are the requests you are making to the ASP.NET Core? Who is responsible to handle them? So all these requests are handled by the routing system in ASP.NET Core. So what the routing system do here, routing system matches the incoming request against a set of endpoints. So we need to define a set of endpoints in the startup class, and against those set of endpoints, the matching criteria is going to apply. If there is a matching route entry, then it process the request, otherwise it does not process the request. So you can see in this picture what is happening when you're making the request, then we having here routing. It will decide whether the route is available or not. If route is not available, it return the 404 error, go back. If route is available here, it further goes to the controller to process it. At the controller level with the alpha model, we process it. And here inside the controller, we having the action. This is the action we having over there. And this action finally return the response to the view this way. And finally, view is going to render as HTML into the browser. So this is the workflow we having in ASP.NET Core when you are including the routing as well. And if you will look closely here, how the routing system is working, in the routing system, what are the requests is coming? The request we actually parse. So we having a mechanism here for parsing the URL. Then we try to find out the matching route entry. So we having a route table behind the scene. And this route table, we having the endpoint, and each endpoint having a pattern this way, these patterns. So these patterns actually will try to match with this incoming request pattern. If the incoming request pattern is matching with one of them, it return here route found. Yes, then process it. If route does not found, then return 404 error. So this is the way how the routing is working in our ASP.NET Core request pipeline. So do you have any query regarding this routing workflow? So good to go ahead.
These endpoints are mentioned internally, right?
These endpoints we define in startup class, not internally. When it is coming to the code, open the code here. We having a startup class. Here we define this endpoint. So as per this endpoint having a name, this endpoint having a pattern. Similarly, we need to define here multiple endpoints. And each endpoint will have its own pattern. So when requests you are making, so every request having a pattern. The request pattern will start matching with the register pattern. If it is matching with one of the pattern, it process the request. But if it is not matching, then it return 4 not 4 error simply. Is it clear?
Yes, I got it.
So when it is coming to the routing, ASP.NET Core support 2 types of routing. We having the convention based routing and we having the attribute routing. So how we define the convention based routing? Convention based routing root we define in a startup class. So this is the way we define the root till ASP.NET Core 2.0. This is a syntax we have in till ASP.NET Core 2.x. But after the 2.x in 3.0, they change the way to define the root. Before that, they having the map root method. Now they having the use endpoint method. And now using the endpoint, we defining the root name, we defining the pattern name over there. So at the endpoint, we add the root in 3.x, 5.x, and even 6.x also. So what are the pattern we having? Here you can see as per this pattern, we having first controller, then we having action, then we having ID. So in the same pattern, when you will make the request to the server, it will return the things to us. Let's say this is the example here for product controller. So product controller, let's say index action you're willing to access. So here default value for controller is home. These are default value. If you will not pass any value for the controller, it will by default take home as a controller name, action as a index, and ID is here optional because we are putting here at the question mark. So question mark is here for making the nullable type. So this is similar to the things we define in the C# method, the parameters with default value and the parameters with optional parameters. So here for accessing the index action, we need to pass the controller name as product, and action name you can skip because here default value for action is index. So that's why we are accessing it using only /product. If you will pass index, that will also work. If you will not pass, then that time also it work. If you're willing to access the create one, you need to pass the controller name first, then action name. As per this, I'm passing the controller name product, action name create over there. When it is coming to the edit, I'm passing here controller name, I'm passing here action name, I'm passing here parameter. So in the first two cases, we have not passed the ID parameter because ID is optional. Even in the first one, I didn't pass the action name also because default value for action is index that will come from here. But for the second, we pass the controller as well as action. And for the third, we pass all the 3 parameters. So here, as per the pattern, you need to pass the things, you need to design the controller label action and receiving parameters. If you're receiving here more than 2 parameters, make sure you have defined more than 2 parameters. If you're not having any parameter, you can make the optional or you can remove that from there. Is it clear? Shall we go ahead now for the hands-on part? So now in the same project, let me define here a one more endpoint, because we having only here one endpoint. I'm just changing here. I'm adding one more endpoint, default one. Then the default value for controller I'm removing. I'm putting a site as a hard code. You can put some hard code value as well. And we don't have any rule like controller should come first. You can keep action also first, then controller. And let's say I don't need ID, so I'm not putting the ID here. I'm removing yes. So this way I just define my, okay, just keep here ID, not an issue this way. But ID here, let's say required parameter. So make sure what are the root you are adding, the name is unique, even pattern also unique. Don't create the same pattern as we already having. And here the route and the routing always works similar to the routes we having in the real life. So as we have the routes in the real life, let's say you right now in Delhi. So routing always work at the real life routing. Let's say we having right now in Delhi and you are willing to go to Pune. So this is my Delhi and this is my Pune. This one. So you having a multiple routes here, which you can use from Delhi to Pune. You can go. You can go via plane. You can go via road. You can go by a train as well, let's say. So this is the route one we have, this is the route two we have, and this is the route three we have. So you have to decide which route you are following. Are you following R1, R2, or R3? So what are the route you have decided to go to Pune? As per that route, you need to pay the amount. You will take the time also. The similar way, the routing in ASP.NET Core also work. Multiple routes can be used to render a particular UI, to render a particular page. So you have to decide what route you are selecting. So what are the route you will selected? As per that, you need to pass the parameter and ultimately the destination you will reach. What are the destination you are having? So let's see how we can do it here in this code as well, how it is working. So this is my route. We added even the same route code I shared through the chat. Have you put over here? I shall be go ahead. Okay, very good if you have completed it. Now run the code. So what is, I'm just going to access here my home. So home, it automatically coming because of this default controller and default action. Or you can say this is the pattern is going to help us to render the home page for our application. So if you're willing to set the home page for the application, or you can say startup page for the application, from here it can be set up. So explicitly, we don't need to pass anything here. It is going to serve. But I can access the same thing by passing the controller name explicitly, action name explicitly this way. Same page is coming. Even I can use the site one also. So in place of using this one, I can use, let's say, site slash index, then we having home. Okay, I think we passing here parameter as well this way. So this is a route 1, these are route 2, these are route 3. These are patterns I'm passing here. So ultimately destination is same. I'm rendering the same index file, but route we are changing. The pattern we are changing as we change in a real life. Is it clear how the routing is working here? Please test it. Then do let me know when you will complete. Tapan, Tapash, Shomendra, Saurabh, Santosh. Okay.
But the second part actually?
Which one?
Second one.
Second one also we are able to access using the site.
Okay.
And guys, one more thing to remember here when it is coming to execution. So execution wise, it look for top to bottom order. So it will first check this endpoint, then it check this endpoint. So at which label it is getting it, only that is going to be used. If let's say it is matching here, only this is going to be used. It will not check this next one, it will leave it. So it's just like scanning the routes, and as soon as the matching found, based upon the matching route, it start serving the parameter, it start serving the request. So now let's create here a one use case.
Can we add multiple endpoints in conventional routing?
These are two endpoints we added over there.
It is attribute routing or conventional?
Conventional.
Okay.
Now let's comment out this one. I'm just creating here a use case where I'm not passing any controller. I'm not passing any action. I'm passing ID. I'm passing here, let's say, cat ID. And here I'm having a product controller, and product controller I'm adding. Guys, make sure you're following to me. So what we will do here, I'm going to display here the product detail based upon the product ID and based upon the category ID. So I'm adding here a product controller. Then I'm having ID. I'm adding cat ID this way. So these two parameters I'm receiving, and make sure parameters names are matching with this parameters name over there. And now for this index, I'm adding a view also. Add view razor without partial view. So what I did here, I need to pass two parameters here. One parameter for category, one parameter for category, one parameter actually for product ID, and another parameter for category ID. So that's why here what I did, I passed here two parameters. These two parameters I defined, even I passed. Now at the product control level, if you're looking at, I'm having the index section where we having the ID, where we having the cut ID. And for this index, we added the view here like this way, product index simply. So we added the product index. Please do let me know when you will complete these steps. You need to define the routing, then entity, you need to add the controller, then action view. Everyone, please do confirm from your end. Tapan. Faguni. Okay. So when you will run it, let's see how it is running. I'm running the code and figure out how we can pass the value. So here I'm going to access my product controller with product ID 1 and wicket ID 2 this way. And make sure it is index also. I'm requesting like this way. It is passing my product ID is 1. It is passing my category ID 2. So this way we can request the product controller index section by passing the ID and by passing the category ID. And both the values we able to receive at the controller level. So at controller levels, both values we are receiving. Are you getting the same output?
Yes.
Same behavior?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now let's say there is a one more use case where I'm adding an employee. I'm adding a employee controller. So this is my employee controller I'm adding. And for employee, let's say I'm receiving the employee ID. I'm receiving here, let's say department ID for employee. And for employee, I'm adding a view, razor view empty index. So this is the way I'm just showing here employee index. I'm putting the breakpoint here simply where we having ID, where we having DPT ID simply. And here, if you're looking at first I did add this one, then do let me know. So when you will complete, please do let me know. Okay, so if you see that here, this time the parameter name are ID and DPT ID. Sorry.
Here 0 is coming in department ID.
You're right. So the thing is here.
Start of phases. Category is there.
So, so the thing is here, the second parameter name is here cat ID. And here it is DPT ID. So what will happen? This value we cannot map to this DPT ID. It is not possible. So parameter name must match with this name over there. So if let's say by the way you added one more root. Let's say I added here one more root with the name DPT ID. So now we having your ID, get ID, DPT ID. And here let's say it is a default 2. So make sure name are unique here. Default 3, default 2, and default. So the thing is, if we're looking at in this pattern, it is also having 4 parameters this way. It is also having 4 parameters. So, and the parameter name explicitly we are not exposing. This value can be anything. So what will happen? Only this one would be useful. This one would be useless. Because if you're defining 2 roots with the same pattern, let's say 4 values here, 4 values here, only in the top to bottom sequence, the first one will be used, second one would be useless. So still it will not work. So in the convention based routing, this is a limitation we having. We cannot have multiple patterns with the same parameters. If it is, it will not work. The one will work, the second one will not work. If you want to check out here again, still I will not get the DPT ID. I will get the DPT ID also 0. Even if you will change the sequence, then in that case, the department ID will start working, but the product one will not. So I'm putting here, let's say product index 1, 2. It is coming here properly 1, 2. But it's the same thing I will do here for employee. It will not work. Employee index 1, 2. It is coming 1, it is coming 0. The reason why I'm getting 0, it is going to serve my request as per this default 3 pattern, not as per this pattern. So remember it and check it out. So guys, have you completed this one?
Yes.
So let's see how we can actually solve this issue. Like, do we have any way to fix it? So yeah, we having a way to fix it. So in place of using the convention based routing, I can use here attribute routing. So let me use my employee controller, and here I can use a root attribute this way. Now let me define the pattern. And here explicitly I can define employee. Actually, I can define index ID and DPT ID this way. So now explicitly we are defining the root at action level. Now run the code to check out how we are getting the ID and DPT ID. So we having here employee index 1,4. So it is coming here 1, it is coming here 4. Perfectly I'm getting the value. Even we can define the alias root as well. Sometimes it happens you're willing to call the same action with multiple roots. So let's say employee does details. So you can also call it using this way, employee does details, in place of passing like this, so employee then index. So we don't have any such rule, like in the URL you have to mention the controller name, you have to mention the action name. In the URL you can mention anything, whatever you like. So I'm using here, let's say employee does details, then 1,4. I'm getting here ID, I'm getting here DPT ID. So perfectly value I'm getting here, employee does details. There is no show. So this is the way how the attribute routing can help you to define the more specific route from the action label.
So which one is better? Attribute routing or convention based routing?
Both having their own advantages. If you're looking at the convention based routing, you have defined the one route pattern, and that can be used to serve n number of controllers and n number of action. But if you will look at the attribute routing, for each action, explicitly you need to define the route. Got it? So if you're having n number of actions, n number of routes need to define explicitly. So what the people use both in the combination. So wherever they need to simplify the pattern, they take the benefit of attribute routing. And whenever it's fine to serve it as per the default route pattern as we define in that the convention base, they use the convention base. So both we need to use in combination. Anything else?
Instead of defining routing for action, can I define for a particular controller?
When it is coming to the attribute routing, we can define the routing at control level as well, like this way. This is the way how we can define a route at controller label, and explicitly you can define for each action like this way. Even at the action also you can define completely. Now you don't need to define the actions completely over there. You define only parameter which you are willing to get. So this way routing you can define a controller label, action label, control label only, action label we are defining only parameters.
Okay.
So guys, for today's session, I have done from my side. If you have any query, please do ask.
Yes, please about view components.
You tell me what query you have.
Actually, where to use view component? Means instead of I can retrieve the data using model also. So why I use view components?
I said to you, view component we use to render a section data dynamically. Same thing we did. The comment section data we rendering dynamically.
So for using a suppose using a dynamic link purpose, so in that case we use view components, right?
No, it's not about the dynamic linking. It's about what content you are going to render dynamically. Let me show the example here. Let's say this is the .netx.com. So what is happening? This section is coming from the database because category we having in the database. Got it? So what we have done, we designed the view component for this one. So that if tomorrow we add one more category, it automatically added over here. Similarly, we having this section. Here also we made it using view component. So here all these section where the things keep change in future, we made with the help of view component. So .netx.com we built completely using ASP.NET Core 5. This is the best example to understand the ASP.NET Core 5. We built it completely in ASP.NET Core 5. Anything else?
We can retrieve the data using view component, then we will use in our view, right? Or in the layout page also.
It's up to you how you are willing to use. Let's say instead of having three different view component, I can retrieve it using the action, and there I can add a condition for loop, the for loop for first section, for loop for second section, for loop for third section. This is also possible.
Okay.
So you have to decide which part you are willing to handle it using the view component. Ultimately, you're going to render a section.
Okay, got it.